ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Namaskar, my dear friends. This is the first chapter of Shree Guru Charitra. First 9 chapters of Guru Charitra are to be read on Thursday during the weekly Parayana. So this is the first chapter of Guru Charitra. Nam Dharak sees Sri Guru in dream. A devotee of Sri Guru by name Nam Dharak, greatly worried due to domestic miseries, left home and started on foot with the intense desire of seeing Sri Guru. While on his way, he was praying to Sri Guru all the time. O Guru, all say, thou art Paras, the philosopher's stone that turns iron into gold by mere touch. But then why should I be required to suffer so much, though I have been reciting your name all the time and having full faith in you? In this Kali Yuga, you are the incarnation of Trimurti, three principal gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. O Sri Narsimha Saraswati, you are the guide to and treasure of the kindness to the devotees. As a mother does not forsake her child, in the same way, please do not keep me away from yourself, as you are my mother, father, brother, sister, friend, relative, one and all. You are the protector of this universe, donor of gods. You have all the knowledge. You made Bali the king of Patal. You gave Vibhishan the kingdom of Lanka, Ceylon. You made this earth devoid of the Akshatriya race and then gave it in charity to the Brahmins. You offered everlasting place to Dharuva, but what did you receive in return from every one of these? If you have received nothing, then what can an innocent human being like myself offer you, who himself the Lord of Lakshmi, goddess of wealth is? When a child on the lap of its mother opens its mouth to drink milk, what does the mother expect from the child? It does not become you a great giver of boons to first receive and then to give. All the wells on the earth do not adore Varun, the god of rains, but yet Varun gives rains in abundance to one and all. My forefathers have been your devotees for generations. I possess only this treasure of services of my family unto you. Kindly give me some loan from this treasure, as I am in very peculiar circumstances. I am seeking your shelter. Considering, and you on your part overlook my misdeeds and do not be angry with me. If a mother is angry with the child seeks father's shelter. You are my mother and father too. So will you not protect me, an innocent child? Are you not even inclined to listen to my miserable tale? Being tired of walking, he sat down under a tree and soon he was asleep. In his dream, he saw a personality with hair, locks on head, us markings on all the S markings on all the body and face full of kindness. He soon recognized him to be Sri Guru, who applied ashes to his forehead and placed his blessing hand on his head. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 of Sri Guru Charitra, to be read on every Thursday. Siddhamuni guides Namdharak. Namdharak was greatly amazed to see the dream. He awoke and began to proceed further on his path. While going, he was all the time thinking over the dream he had seen in the previous night. He now observed that similar personality alike that seen by him in the dream was coming from the front. He prostrated himself humility before him and said, "You are my mother and father. Kindly favor me, an orphan child. Kindly tell me your name and place of residence." The Siddha Muni said, "I am a yogi. I live on earth and in heaven also. I have been visiting holy places and now I have come here. I am a disciple of Sri Guru Narsimha Saraswati who resides at Gangapur near Sangam, the meeting place of the Bhima and Amraja river. He is in the incarnation of three murtis and always found in meditation. He has come to this earth for the salvation of his devotees. His devotees get food, cows, and other wealth in abundance. Hearing this, Namdharak asked him, "Though my forefathers have been devotees of Sri Guru for generations, why should be in such adverse conditions? Will you kindly satisfy me in this respect?" Sri Siddha said, "You say that you worship Sri Guru and yet complain adversities. Then it seems that you are not worshipping Sri Guru wholeheartedly. Even if Sri Vishnu or Sri Shiva is angry with his devotees, Sri Guru can surely protect him. But if Sri Guru is enraged, even Sri Vishnu or Sri Shiva cannot protect him." Namdharak said, "Kindly tell me why Sri Guru is said to be the incarnation of Trimurti, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. How is it that if Sri Guru is enraged, none can protect? Where can I find this reference? Kindly explain all this to me so that my mind would become more firm in devotion." Sri Siddha said, "Four Vedas came out as utterances of four-headed Brahma. From the Vedas, 18 Puranas were construed. Brahma Vaivarta is one of these, and it is stated in it that In the Dwapar Yuga, Vyasa, the Vishnu incarnate, spread the light of knowledge on earth through such volumes known as Brahma Sutras. Rishis and Munis listen to the tales from Vyasa, which I am narrating to you. Once upon a time, Kali asked Brahma about the greatness of Sri Guru. Namdharak intervened, asking, why did Brahma narrate this to Kali? Sri Siddha proceeded, saying, in the start of evolution, Adi Narayan, Sri Vishnu was lying on a leaf of what he desired, and lotus came out of his umbilicus. On it was seated Brahma, who looked to the four directions, and he got four heads. He thought that he was all supreme. Realizing this, Sri Vishnu smiled and said, ah, I am here, bow to me. Brahma bowed to him and praised him. Being pleased, Sri Vishnu asked Brahma to create this universe. Sri Vishnu gave him four Vedas and also told him to create this world according to the process given in the Vedas. Brahma then created this world which has several animate and inanimate things such as 1. Swedas, those born of perspiration as bugs, etc. 2. Andas, those coming out of eggs as birds. 3. Jaraj, those begetting from placenta, that is womb, as human beings. And 4. Udbhij, that is coming out of earth, that is plants, creepers, trees, etc. Similarly, Brahma created three lokas, worlds. This process of creation has been stated in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana in the following manner. Brahma called every yug one after the other and asked him to go on earth. First came Krita Yug, who did not speak a lie, was learned and devoid of family attachments, had sacred thread and necklace of Rudraksha beads around the neck. He said, the people of earth speak a lie and are sinful. How can I go and stay there? Brahma said, stay there for some time. I shall be sending another yug to follow you. Then came Treta Yug. Fat in body possessed articles of sacrifice in his hands. In this yug, people performed sacrifices and abode by the rules of religions and rituals, and most of them were Brahmins. After the Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug is approached Brahma. He had arrows and other weapons in his hands. He was both kind and wicked. Virtue and sin were both visible in him. Lastly, Kali Yuga was called for ghost-like appearance, thoughtless heart, old age, struggling and despising mentality were his characteristics. He came before Brahma and began dancing and uttering childish words. At one moment he laughed, at another he welted, and then abused anybody. Seeing him in such strange mood, Brahma asked, why are you naked and abusing so filthily? Kali replied, I shall win over people by these two means. I am not afraid of anybody. Brahma smiled and told me to go the earth and show the influence of his evil intentions. Kali said, I, selfish destroyer of dharma, I like quarrel, despising and long for the wealth and wives of others. I am a friend to those who pretend to be a saint, and I am an enemy of all the virtuous. Brahma told him in Kali Yuga, the span of life of the human beings would be only 100 years in the former yugas. As the lifespan was too long, people followed the path of penance and devotion in order to attain supreme knowledge. In Kali Yuga, in Kali, in Kali Yuga, a man can attain salvation the observing penance and devotion for less time. You should help such virtuous persons. Kali said, such virtuous men are my enemies. I am afraid of such persons. How should I then go to the earth? Brahma said, take Kal and Atma with you. They will destroy the religious mindedness and even induce virtuous persons to commit sins. Kali said, they are enemies who abide by the religion and are devotees of Vishnu and Shiva, who listen to Puranas, give charities, and who have peaceful hearts. But on the contrary, I love those who love their wives and children, dishonor their parents, who despise Vedas and Shastras, who see separateness in Vishnu and Shiva and despise them. Brahma said, you are clever, people will follow you and act as per your wishes as soon as you go there. If a few persons are virtuous, you do not trouble them. Kali said, I am cruel, please tell me how I should help the virtuous. Please direct me as to how I should behave on the earth. Brahma said, I am sending Kal and Atma also with you, who will direct you. The virtuous only can will you, all others will soon be your slaves. Kali asked how a sadhu saint is to be known. Brahma said, please do not harass the learned and those who worship her, who serve parents, gods and Brahmins, cows and plants as Tulsi. You need not affect this. Kali again asked, what is the importance of Guru? How he is to be known? Brahma said, alphabet Go means Siddha and R and U imply Sri Ganesh who is Guru. Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, parents are all Gurus of this earth. Knowledge imbibed with devotion and rational thinking, Viveka is seen in the heart of the Guru. Study of Dharma and Shastras without Guru is futile. He directs in action, thought, devotion, and disintegration. One cannot surpass worldly miseries without the help and guidance of Guru. He throws a flashlight on the dark, illusionary path. Service to the Guru makes one pure in body, speech, and thinking. I shall just tell a tale as an example. On the bank of Godavari, there was the ashram of Angiras Rishi. Many disciples were being trained in this ashram. One disciple named Sandeepak served his guru Vedadharma with great devotion. Once Vedadharma Muni gathered his disciples together and said, "If you really love me, do as I bid you." All replied, "Gurudev, we shall act as per your command, for one who does not obey his Guru goes to hell and cannot get salvation." The Guru said, "I have committed sins in my previous births. The effect of many of them has been wiped off by penance, but still some of them are persisting. I will not get salvation unless I suffer the evil effects of those sins with my body. I therefore wish to go to Kasi, stay there, and get rid of these sins. You have to attend on me and serve me during this period. One who is strong enough should undertake this hard task." Sandeepak accepted this bid. Vedadharma said, "It is better to get rid of the sins so long as one has sound health, otherwise they spread like poison. So I should go to holy place and suffer the bad effects myself. Even gods have to suffer. Then how can a human being like myself avoid the same?" Sandeepak said, "Kindly tell me what I should do. I shall spare no pains in serving you." Vedadharma said, "I shall become blind, lame, and a leper. You will have to serve me for 21 years in such condition. If you are resolute, then only you should accept this job." Sandeepak said, "Gurudev, I resolve that I shall also be blind, lame, and a leper, and serve you devotedly and see that you get rid of all the sins." Vedadharma was much pleased with his words. He further said, "One should suffer the evil effects of one's sins oneself and should not allow the son or the pupil or anyone else to suffer for him. The sins will not be wiped off unless they are borne by one's own body. It is very taxing to serve a diseased person, so you will have to take troubles even more than myself. Please take me to Kashi and do serve me there." Sandeepak assured his Guru, and soon he took him to Kashi. They lived there at Kambleshwar to the north of Mankarnika. The Muni took a bath in Mankarnika and worshipped Visveswar and began to suffer the pangs of diseases. As the time passed on, leprosy developed all over his body and he became blind, losing his eyesight. His body was petrified and pus, blood, and germs flowed out of it. He began to have fits also. Still, Sandeepak took all pains to nurse his Guru with great devotion. He used to bring alms daily for his Guru, fed him and served him, thinking him to be Kasi Visveswar. Veda Dharma, being in a diseased condition, became peevish by nature and often was enraged and spoke harsh words to his disciple Sandeepak. Some day he would not take food, some day he would abuse him cruelly for bringing insufficient for undelicious alms. Someday he would throw away the food in anger and despair. Sometimes he would even beat him severely. Another time he would complain that he did not clean his body, wounds, clothes smeared with stool and urine, and consequently he was much troubled by flies. When Sandeepak was attending on him, he would say, "Why did he not go out for alms?" In this way, Sandeepak was harassed every now and then. Yet Sandeepak tried his best to bring good delicious food and vegetables as directed by his guru. Though he was living in Kansi, he never went to the Visveswar temple to worship and see the most holy shrine of Visveswar. Similarly, he did not think of any other thing but he solely devoted himself to the nourishing and giving best service to his guru, whom he respected as God Shiva, Vishnu and Brahma. Though he Though the Guru got enraged off and on, he did not retort harshly. Seeing his such devoted service to his Guru, Kasi Visveswar was so pleased that he appeared before him and told him to ask for some favor or blessing. Sandeepak replied, "Without the approval of my Guru, I cannot ask for your blessing." He then came to his Guru and said, "Kasi Visveswar is pleased to offer me some blessing. If you permit me, I shall pray him to remove your physical pangs and give you sound health." Hearing this, Vedadharma was enraged. He said to Sandeepak, "Do not pray Visveswar for my health. If I do not suffer these pangs, I will have to suffer in the next birth, and this would obstruct my path of salvation." Sandeepak returned to Kasi Visveswar and told him, "My Guru does not like me to accept any blessings from you." Being amazed, Kasi Visveswar went to Sri Vishnu and reported this wonderful incident to him. Hearing this, Sri Vishnu and Sri Kasi Visveswar desired to see this disciple and his Guru, and so they both came to Kasi and approached Sandeepak. Sri Vishnu said, "On, O Sandeepak, I am pleased with your devotion to your Guru. You may ask for whatever you desire. I shall fulfill your wishes." Sandeepak said, "O Narayan, even after undertaking penance in dense forest for infinite period, you disappoint your devotees. But when neither did I worship you nor recite your name, why should you be pleased with me and ask me to have a boon from you?" Sri Vishnu said, "Whatever devoted service you have rendered to your Guru has been received by me. I love such disciples very much. I am under his influence and I willingly offer him my blessing. I like wife's devotion to her husband, bowing to Brahmins, ascetics and sannyasis, and such persons come to my place in the end." Sandeepak said, "O Mahavishnu, I have full faith that I shall attain all knowledge of Vedas and Shastras from my Guru. As Guru is my God, three Murtis, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh are within my reach. Whatever blessings you give me, I shall be getting the same easily from my Guru. I am therefore serving my Guru devotedly." On this, Sri Vishnu said pleasingly, "Sandeepak, you are the best amongst all the disciples. You are my loving child. Sri Shiva and myself are pleased with your devotion. Ask for a boon." Sandeepak said, "If you are so keen to favor me with your blessings, kindly give me such guidance as would enable me to serve my Guru with still more devotion." Sri Vishnu said, "Amin. We offer you what you desire. You have known Guru and also experienced Parbrahma in yourself. The word Guru contains only two alphabets, still it is the ocean of nectar. One who dips into it even for a moment will cross this worldly ocean. One who always remembers Guru is respected in all locals. When Sandeepak went to his Guru, the Guru asked him, "What did Mahavishnu give you?" Sandeepak replied, "I asked him to guide me to serve my Guru with more devotion, and he was pleased to give me this blessing. I wish I should serve you well and incessantly." Hearing this, Veda Dharma too was extremely pleased, and he said, "You are the best of all the disciples. You should stay in Kasi. Whatever you say will be true. You will receive the wealth of Kuber, god of wealth. The miseries of those who remember you will come to an end." The same moment the body of Veda Dharma Muni became healthy and bright. He had suffered from leprosy and other pangs only for testing his disciple. In this way, Brahma told Kali this tale of Sandeepak. "O Namdharak, you should also worship Sri Guru with such devotion, and then only you shall easily pass over the worldly miseries. Control your senses, karma, dhyan, and also heart and other. By you will win even the great God, that is Parmeshwar." दूसरा chapter, second chapter is completed. Chapter 3. Durvas curses King Ambarish. Namdharak, Swamiji, you have removed my doubt by giving me the knowledge of the greatness of Sri Guru. I am much pleased at heart. Will you kindly inform me where you stay? What is your food? I wish to be in your service. Kindly accept me as your disciple. Sri Siddha embraced him with affection and blessing him said, "You will see that miraculous incidents are occurring at the dwelling place of Sri Guru. Studying the life of Sri Guru is like draining nectar. I always read this life again and again." Saying this, he showed his sacred book titled Life of Sri Guru to Namdharak and further said, "Whatever pleasure or social status we desire, we shall get it soon by reading this. We shall not be affected by any disease incurred due to displeasure of the planets or other reasons. The sin of killing a Brahmin is also wiped off if this book is read with devotion and concentration of mind." Namdharak, "O the ocean of kindness, you appear to me be Sri Guru himself. I wish to know the life of Sri Guru. Will you please remove the darkness of my ignorance by the light of this life of Sri Guru, which is as bright as the sun?" Sri Siddha assured him and holding his hand took him to a lovely place, seated him under Asvatha tree, which is like Kalpa Vriksha, that is a tree fulfilling one's desires, and began to narrate him the nectar like life of Sri Guru. He told him, "You do not know how to serve Sri Guru, and hence you have to suffer from anxieties, pains, and miseries. You should therefore try to know Sri Guru by good actions and firm belief. Namdharak, my body is burning due to threefold fires in this earthly ocean. I am obsessed by sex, anger, and temptation. So kindly take me in the boat of knowledge, steer it by the wind of kindness, and thus give salvation to me. Sri Siddha said, you need not be anxious. You will surely be relieved of your miseries engrossed in illusion and temptation. Those who doubt the great power of Sri Guru, they have always to suffer from poverty and hardship. So give up suspicion. Sri Guru is an ocean of kindness. He will give you everything, just as clouds give rain everywhere. Similarly, Sri Guru gives showers of kindness. As water is stored in the deep portions of earth on the rocky place, so an individual attains Sri Guru's favor. Therefore, worship Sri Guru wholeheartedly. Naam Dharak, my mind is clear now and I am anxious to listen to the life story of Sri Guru. Kindly tell me why Sri Guru took birth in Bharat. Sri Siddha, oh my good disciple, you have given inspiration to me. Sri Guru's life is like Kam Dhanu. You will get all the four values or favors with religion, wealth, pleasure, and salvation. Sri Hari and Sri Har have to come this earth in the form of different species at different times for the benefits of their devotees. Three Murtis have three different characteristics. Brahma's Rajas, Vishnu's Sattva, and Shiva's Tamas, but these do not exist separately. The former three the former times there lived a king by name Ambrish. He observed Ekadasi fast 11th day of every fortnight, dark and bright. He induced Sri Vishnu to come to earth. In order to test Ambrish's Ekadasi Varta, Durvasa Rishi came to him as a guest. That day Sadhan Dvadasi was only for 24 minutes after sunrise. Ambarish received the Rishi, warmly worshipped him and requested him to return soon for dinner, finishing his morning bath and rituals. Durvas went to the river, took bath and started rituals. Seeing that the time for Dvadasi, 12th day of fortnight, was finishing and fearing the break of his Varta, Ambarish took holy water and dined. In the meanwhile, Durvas returned and seeing that Ambarish had dined before him, he was enraged and so he cursed Ambarish. Ambarish prayed Sri Vishnu, protector of devotees. Sri Vishnu came from Vaikuntha, his abode. Ambarish told Sri Vishnu that Durvas had for no reason cursed him to take birth in different species. Sri Vishnu told Durvas that he had cursed Ambarish in vain and that he should curse him, Vishnu, instead of Ambarish. Durvas thought that people on earth cannot see Sri Vishnu, so it would be better to ask Sri Vishnu to descend on earth with Sri Lakshmi for the salvation of the people. So he said to Sri Vishnu, you should descend on the earth 10 times for destroying the wicked and giving relief to all. Sri Vishnu accepted Durvasa's curse. You know the 10 incarnations of Sri Vishnu which are narrated in Bhagavat. Once Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh came in disguise to Sati Anusuya, the most respected Pativarta, devoted wife Atri. I shall now tell this tale to you. Tisra, third chapter is completed. Now fourth chapter will start. Chapter 4. Birth of Sri Dattatreya. In the first instance, there was all water everywhere. Then an egg, Hiranyagarbha, with gold inside, came into existence. Universe has come out of it due to Rajas. Brahma came into existence. He is known as Hiranyagarbha. It broke into two hemispheres and the earth and the sky came into existence. Brahma thus created 14 bhuvans, 10 directions, mind, speech, time, 6 enemies as desire, anger, etc. Brahma created 7 sons, Manas Putras, namely Marichi, Atri, Angiras, Pulasti, Pulaha, Khartu, and Vasishta. Of these, Sri Guru took him birth in the house of Atri. Anusuya, devoid of hatred, was the devoted wife of Sri Atri Rishi. She was very beautiful also. Seeing her exceptional devotion to her husband, the gods in heaven began to fear that someday she might overcome them. Hence Indra and other gods went to Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh and said to them, how can one describe the greatness of the devotion of Anasuya to her husband Atri? She served her husband with body, mind and speech. She also serves guests, giving them desired food. None returns disappointed from her place. Fire, sun and wind are also afraid of her. We are all afraid of her. She may sometime win over this heaven. Therefore kindly do something to give us relief. Hearing this, Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh said angrily, we shall test her devotion. Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh came to Atri Muni's ashram in the mendicant's disguise when Atri had been out to the river for daily rituals. The mendicant said to Anasuya, we are very hungry, give us food. We have come here hearing your good name for offering the guests their desired food. Anasuya bowed to them respectfully and said, you please return soon after finishing your bath and daily rituals. The three gods replied, we have already taken bath and finished the rituals. Atri Rishi may take time to return. Better you serve us food soon. Anasuya seated them on carpets and began serving food on leaf plates. The guest said to Anasuya, we have one more desire. We have come here from a long distance as we have heard of your beauty. We wish you to put off your garments and then serve us with food. If you do not comply with this, we shall leave this place without meals. This made Anasuya bitterly anxious. She realized that some great personages have come to test her chastity. She thought that if they returned without food, she would lose sanctity of her penance. Believing that her mind is pure and that her husband's penance will protect her in this ordeal, she told them, you have your food without any doubt. I shall serve you food as you desire. She went into her kitchen and remembering her husband, put off her garments and saying, the guests are like my children, she came out to serve food to the guests. Instantly all the three gods were transformed into three newly born crying babies. She was terrified to see three crying babies. She put on her clothes and took the babies one after the other to her breast for feeding. What great power does a Pativarta possess? Those who have 14 bhuvans, 7 oceans, and fire in the belly were all satisfied with the little milk in her breast. Anasuya thus became the mother of the three great gods. She placed them in a cradle and pulled the string to and fro and began singing lullabies. It was midday. Atri Rishi returned from the river after finishing his rituals. He was very much astonished to see Anasuya pulling the string of a cradle and singing songs. Anasuya narrated all that had happened. Atri Rishi, by power of intuition, knew that the babies were three murtis, and so he bowed to them. The three gods were also much pleased. They stood before him and told Atri to ask for boon. Atri said to Anasuya, "You may ask for whatever you desire." Anasuya said, "These babies should stay in this ashram as our sons." The three murtis readily complied. Anasuya began to nurse and feed them. Brahma was known as Chandra, Vishnu was called Datta, and Mahesh was called Durvas. After some time, Chandra and Durvas told their mother Anasuya that they both were going away for penance and that the third Datta would be staying with her. She should know him as Trimurti. After this, Chandra and Durvas went away. Chandra went to Chandralok and Durvas went to the forest for penance. Datta or Dattatreya remained with Anasuya. Dattatreya is the founder of the seat of Sri Guru. Fourth chapter is completed. Next will be chapter number 5. Chapter 5 for Thursday's Parayan reading. Birth of Sri Pad Sri Vallabha. Sri Siddha, Namdharak Sri Vishnu had several incarnations as Matsya fish, Kacha tortoise, Varaha bear, Narsimha man with lion's head, Vaman, Parshurama, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, and Kalki to protect the sadhus and punish the wicked. Bhagirath did his utmost to bring the Ganges on the earth for the salvation of his forefathers, the Sagar kings. Similarly, a Brahmin woman worshipped Sri Dattatreya and hence Sri Dattatreya took birth from her womb. I shall now narrate this tale to you. A Brahmin named Apalraj lived at Pithapur in the east. Sumatha was his most devoted wife. On one Amavasya day, there was an anniversary day at the house of Apalraj. On that day, Sri Datta came in disguise to his house for alms. Generally, alms are not given to beggars on the anniversary day, but though the Brahmins invited for the ceremony had not dined, Sumantha offered him alms, and Sri Datta was much pleased and he disclosed his divine appearance to her. She humbly bowed to Sri Datta, who said, "Mother, what do you desire?" She said, "You are a treasure of kindness and protector of the devotees. You are well known in all the 14 bhuvans. You just called me mother. I begot children, but some of them died soon, and of those that are surviving, one is blind and one is lame. I therefore feel my life to be futile without a good son. I wish I should have a son who would be world famous and learned like yourself. Will you fulfill this desire of mine? Sri Datta said, you will have a son well known in Kali Yuga. You abide by his wishes, he will be learned, he will fulfill all your desires. Seeing this, Sri Datta disappeared. Sumatha told this to her husband, he too was much pleased. Both believed that Sri Datta himself would come to their home in the form of a child. The husband said Sri Datta lives at Mahur and Kolhapur. He comes in the mendicants from daily alms at midday. You should always give him alms. Sumtha told her husband that she had offered alms to Sri Datta that day, even before the Brahmins invited for performing the Shraddha had dined. The husband said, you did very well, my forefathers will be more satisfied, as Sri Datta himself has taken alms to today. As you have obtained blessings from him, you will surely get a son. You need not worry. Thus they were passing their time with pleasure. Sumta became pregnant after the full period of 9 months. She gave birth to a son. Brahmins foretold that this child will be a great guru and an ascetic. Thinking him to be an incarnation of Sri Datta, he was called after one of Datta's name, Sripad. His thread ceremony was performed when he was 7 years old. Even at this age, he knew all four Vedas, Mimamsa, Tharak, logics, etc. All people wondered at his brilliancy and said he must be a god in human form. He taught the Brahmins of the city various subjects as Achar, Vyavahar, Prayaschita, Vedant, Bhasha, Vedarth, etc. When Sripad was 16 years of age, his parents began to think of his marriage. Sripad warned that would marry with the woman called disintegration. All other ladies liked mother to him. He said, I am a brahmachari and an ascetic. I love yoga and my name is Sri Vallabha. I now intend to go to the forest for observing penance and obtaining divine knowledge. Hearing this, the parents recollected the words of Sri Datta, the mendicant, and realized that he would have his own way. Still, due to affection, they were very much aggrieved. The mother said, we expected you to protect us in our old age. Saying so, the mother became unconscious. Sripad consoled her and said, do not be anxious. I shall give you what you wish. Believe in me and live happily. The mother said, my dear son, I forgot all my previous miseries only on account of you, and I cherished a great hope that you would protect us in our old age. We have two other sons, but one is lame and the other is blind. Who will look after them? Sripad looked at his lame and blind brother with nectar-like sight. Instantly the blind brother got his sight and lame one got his legs. Both became learned, well versed in Vedas, Shastras and Vyakaran. They prostrated before Sripad Sri Vallabha and he blessed them. Just as iron is transformed into gold by the touch of the philosopher's stone, so both the brothers were enlightened and they became respectable due to the blessings of Sripad. He then said to the brothers, you will have sons, grandsons, and great grandsons, and you all shall live happily. He told his brothers, further serve your parents. You will be happy in this world and shall get salvation in the end. He then said to his mother, you should be happy now, but your sons will live for 100 years. They will have sons and daughters, and you will see them living merrily. They will have wealth for generations and shall be famous for their learning. Now do not prevent me from going to forest. I have to go to the north to guide the sadhus. Saying this, Sripad Swami disappeared and came to Kasi, where he began to live secretly. After some days, he went to Badri Narayan. He visited holy places one after the other, and in course of time, one day reached Gokarna. Chapter number 5 is completed. Chapter number 6, Ramana and Gokarna Mahabaleshwar Namdharak Swami, though Trimurti was Siddha, having yogic power to do and undo things, why did he visit different holy places, and why did he prefer Gokarna to other places? What is its significance? Sri Siddha, I am much delighted with your question, and I am encouraged to narrate incidents from Sri Guru's life. Sripad Sri Vallabha reached Gokarna, and on his way he made disciples and gave them divine advice. Gokarna is a sacred place of Sri Shiva and one of the 12 famous Jyotirlingas. Sri Ganesh founded here the original linga image of Shiva. It is known as Mahabaleshwar, the tale of which I shall narrate to you now. Ravana's mother, Kekaya, wife of Pulasti, Mansa, Putra of Brahma, was a great devotee of Shiva. She worshipped a new Shiva linga every day. One day she could not get a new Shiva linga. Fearing that her varta would be futile, she prepared an earthen linga and began to worship it with devotion. Seeing this, Ravana asked her what she was doing. She said that she was worshipping a Shivalinga. Ravana said, you being my mother, it is a great misfortune that you should vardhan living Shivalinga. Well, what do you intend to achieve by this worship? Mother replied that thereby she would get a place in Kailash, abode of Shiva after death. Thereupon Ravana said, why do you take so much trouble? Shall bring Kailash itself to you. Saying this, he went to Kailash and began to shake it violently with his 20 hands. He tried to lift it up. Due to this action of his, 7 patals were shaken. Shesh moved his hood. The tortoise began to tremble with fear. Amarpur, capital of Indra, the king of gods and heaven, were shocked. Parvati went to Sri Shiva with fear and said, what has happened to Kailash today? When everyone was distressed, how are you lying at ease? Please do something to check this calamity. Sri Shiva said to her, you need not be anxious. Ramana, one of my devotees, is playing a game. Parvati entreated, kindly protect the gods who terrified. Sri Shiva pressed Ravana's 10 heads and 20 hands underneath the Kailash. Finding himself in distress, Ravana uttered Shiva, Shiva, and further prayed Shiva, Sri Shiva, I have made a mistake. Forgive me. I seek your shelter. Kindly do not kill me, your devotee. His prayer pleased Sri Shiva, who is very simple and kind. So he took him up from breath. Ramana then cut his head, turned his hands into violin. He attached his intestines to serve as musical wires. He then began to chant Samveda and sing other ragas on the tune of this musical instrument. He praised Sri Shiva in 9 rasas and 36 ragas. Being much pleased by Ravana's performance at great personal sacrifice, Sri Shiva appeared before him and said, I am much pleased, ask for whatever you desire. Ravana said, O God of gods, Lakshmi is my maidservant. I possess all the 8 treasures. Brahma is my priest, and all 33 crore gods are serving me day and night. The sun, the moon, the Varuna, and the wind also obey me. Agni, fire god, washes my clothes. Yama does not take away anybody without my permission. Indrajit is my son, and Kumbhakarna is my brother. Kamdhenu is at my doors. Now I have come to take away Kailas with me, as my mother has accepted a Varta to worship you daily. Kindly fulfill my mother's desire. Kailaspati Sri Shiva said, if your mother wishes to worship me, what is the necessity of taking Kailas to her? I shall give you Atma Linga, which will fulfill all her desires instantly. It is just like my soul. Saying this, he gave his Atma Linga to Ravana and said, after bath, place this at a holy place, reciting Rudra Shukta, and worship it with 108 lap recitation of a particular mantra. One who worships this linga continuously for 3 years will gain my prowess. One who possesses this linga will give for eternity. One is relieved of any great sin simply with the sight of this linga. Do not place this on the ground till you reach Lanka. Taking the Atma Linga, Ravana at once started for Lanka. Narada Muni immediately approached Indra and said to him, how are you sitting idle? Ramana has become immortal. You will lose all your prominence. Sri Shiva has given him Atma Linga and has assured him that if he would worship it for 3 years with devotion, he will be Ishwar himself. How will you then rescue 33 crores of gods who are in his custody? Better you all be his slaves. Also send divine damsels like Urvasi, Rambha, Menka, etc. to him. Being shocked, Indra requested Nard to advise what he would do. Nard asked him to go to Brahma. Indra and Nard went to Brahma and narrated what he had taken place. Then, accompanied by Indra and Nard, Brahma went to Sri Vishnu and requested him to devise some means to overcome this calamity. Sri Vishnu was enraged to hear this tale. He, with all others, immediately went to Sri Shiva. Sri Vishnu said to Sri Shiva, what made you give Atmalinga to Ramana, the most wicked, who has made all the gods his captives? How do you bless such cruel persons? Now he will conquer even heaven. And Sri Shiva said, I was extremely pleased with his devotion. He cut his head and hands and made a violin using his intestines as strings and sang Samveda and other songs in different ragas. This time, if he had asked for Parvati, I would have given her even to him. Sri Vishnu said, you give such blessings and the demons become impudent, and then we are troubled much as they harass the gods and Brahmins, and I have to descend on the earth. Well, tell me, when did you give the linked to Ravana. Sri Shiva said, I gave it him only 2 hours before. He rings, he rings this. Sri Vishnu immediately sent his Sudarshan Chakra to hide the sun and asked Narad to Ravana and induce him to linger on the way as he would like to observe evening Sandhya. Then he called Ganesh and said to him, Ravana always disregards you. All bow to you first and you fulfill their desires, while those who speak ill of you, you bring obstacles in their undertakings. Ravana deceived Sri Shiva and has taken away from him the most valuable Atamlinga. So you should go to him in the form of a brahmachari boy and winning his confidence, take the Atamlinga from him at sunset when he would engage himself in the evening sandhya and place the linga on the earth. If you do so, the linga will remain there. Seeing this, Sri Vishnu gave Ganesh various sweets, till balls, good coconut, kernel, milk, ghee, sugar, etc. Narad had already proceeded. Ganesh followed him hurriedly. Narad approached Ravana and said, I had just been to Kailas and knew that you pleased Sri Shiva by your hard penance and have brought his Atamlinga from him. You have obtained extraordinary power and strength due to this. This linga has great significance. Please let me see the linga. I shall explain to you all its qualities. As Ramana did not believe Narad, he showed him the linga from a distance. Narad asked, do you know when and how this linga came into existence? This is a very interesting account. A black-skinned bright deer having all fragrant things was lying in Brahmand Khand. Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh once went there for hunting. They killed this deer and satisfied their hunger with its flesh. The deer had 3 horns on its head and 3 lingas below. Each one of them took one linga and preserved it as his Atam linga. One who worships this for 3 years becomes Ishwar himself. The place where this linga is placed is like Kailash. Therefore, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh have great prominence over all other gods. Ravana intercepted. I have no time to listen to you as I have to reach Lanka soon. Let me proceed further on my way. Nard said, this is evening time. You know the Vedas. You should act as prescribed by the Vedas. This is the time for evening Sandhya. Let us perform the same. Seeing this, Nard went away for Sandhya. In the meantime, Ravan saw Ganesh in the form of a brahmachari boy who was plucking durvas, a particular grass. Ravana thought that that boy would not deceive him. Better observe Sandhya and trusting the linga to that boy. So thinking, he approached Ganesh, who was afraid to see Ravana with 10 heads coming to him, but he began to run away. Ravana asked him, who are you? Who are your parents? Ganesh said, why are you inquiring? What does my father owe you? Ravana smiled and said, don't be afraid of me. I am asking this only out of curiosity. Ganesh replied, I am the son of Sri Shiva. He has S marks all over the body, has a necklace of Rudra beads around his neck, and bears hair locks on his head. My mother is Parvati. My father rides a bull of Nandi with my mother and begs for alms daily. Ramana said, your father is a pauper. He begs for alms from door to door. So it seems that you are unhappy at home, inside in a beautiful city, Lanka, rich with magnificent buildings, garden, and other wealth. You live with me. I shall give you whatever you desire. Ganesh said, there are many Rakshasas in Lanka. They will devour me, a boy living in forest. Hence I would not come to Lanka. I am hungry and so I am eating these sweets. Ravana again entreated him to hold the linga in his hand till he observed Sandhya. Thereafter Ganesh said with hesitation, I am an ignorant boy. I won't hold this linga in my hand as it may be heavy. Let me go to my place. Still Ramana persuaded him and induced Ganesha to hold the linga, and he proceeded to observe Sandhya on the seashore. Ganesh warned him, mind, as soon as I feel the linga heavy, I shall place it on the earth. Seeing this, Ganesh took the linga and waited there. All the gods had gathered in the sky and were witnessing this event. When Ravana was offering argyas, argyas, water ablutions to fire god, Ganesha called Ravana and said that he is fatigued and he should take his linga from him soon. Ravana made signs by hand and asked him to wait for a little more time. After a while, Ganesh again called Ramana and asked him to come immediately as it was becoming unbearable for him to hold the linga. Ramana was meditating this time, seeing that Ravana was not coming. Ganesh recollected Sri Vishnu's words and placed the linga on the ground in the presence of the gods in the sky. All the gods were greatly pleased to see this and showered flowers in the head of Ganesha in admiration. Soon after, Ravana returned and seeing that the linga was placed on the ground, he was much annoyed. He began to thrash Ganesha in wrath. Ravana tried his best with all his might to lift up the linga. The earth trembled, but the linga could not be shaken a bit. As Ravana tried to lift it up by screwing, it took the shape of an ear of the cow, and so it is known as Gokaran. And as Ravana exercised all his might to lift it up, it is called Mahabaleshwar. In despair, Ravana then went to the forest for hard penance. There are many other incidents signifying the greatness of this holy place. This is narrated in the Sakanda Purana, chapter number 6 completed. Chapter 7, Somini and Madhyanti at Gokarna. Namdharak, Swami, will you tell me who were benefited by visiting this holy place of Gokarna? Sri Siddha, just listen. Formerly there lived a brave king in the family of Ikshvaku. He knew all the Shastras. He was considerate, strong, and kind. Once he went on hunting and seeing a demon like a flame of fire, he aimed an arrow and the demon fell on the ground senseless. The brother of the demon wept bitterly in grief. Before dying, the demon asked his brother to take revenge of his death. The brother approached the king in human form and sought his service and was enraged as a cook. On the anniversary day, the king had invited rishis like Vasishtha and others. When Vasishtha and others were seated on their seats, the new cook served human flesh in the plate of Sri Vasishtha. Being enraged, Vasishtha cursed the king that he would become a Brahmarakshasa. The king was also annoyed to see that he was being cursed for no fault of his. He therefore took water in his hand and intended to curse Sri Vasishtha in return. Maharani Madhyanti hastened to the king and entreated and prevented him from cursing his guru. She requested him to pray Vasishtha for Ushap blessing to nullify the effects of the course. Being pacified, the poured the water in his hands on his own feet, whereby after being a Brahm Rakshasa he was called Kalmaspad. Madhyanti bowed to Vasishtha and prayed for Ushavs for the king. Vasishtha was also cooled by this time. He assured her that the king would attain human form and return from the forest on completion of 12 years. Kalmaspad lived in a dense forest. Once he saw a young Brahmin couple passing by. He clasped the Brahmin youth with the intention of devouring him. The young wife of the youth wept bitterly and requested Kalmaspad with folded hands, saying, "Kindly release my young husband who is well versed in Vedas and thus give me my Sobhagya. By doing this, you will add to your virtues. Treat me as your daughter. If I beget a son, I shall give him your name." But the demon did not listen to her and killed the youth and ate his flesh. The wife of the youth collected the bones of her husband, arranged a pyre, and set fire to it. Before burning herself in the same pyre, she cursed the demon. "You will die instantly when after 12 years you become king and touch your wife." The king returned to his city after 12 years. He told his wife Rani Madhyanti all about the curse of the Brahmin's wife. Madhyanti was much grieved to hear it. She exclaimed, "Even after staying in the forest in hardship for 12 years, you are not relieved of the evil effects of your evil actions. There is no son in our family. What should we do now?" The king called the old priest and told him, "I have killed a Brahmin when I was a demon and was staying in the forest. How can I be relieved of all evil effects?" The priest said, "You should visit all the holy places and then all your sins will be wiped off." The king then started to visit all the holy places one after the other. He performed sacrifices, gave money in charity, served meals to the Brahmins and the poor, and did other virtuous acts. Still, the sin of Brahmahatya followed him like a shadow. Accidentally, he met Gautam Muni. He bowed to the Muni respectfully. Gautam asked, "When you have your own state kingdom, why are you wandering from place to place and why are you so much worried?" "I have committed a Brahmatya. I performed sacrifices and several vartas, visited holy places and did virtuous acts, yet I am not relieved of this sin. I am fortunate to see your holy self today," replied the king. Gautama said, "You need not worry. Sri Shiva will protect you. You should go to Gokarna to get rid of this sin." Mrityunjaya, the conqueror of death, Sri Shiva always stayed there. Though the fire and the moon can do away with the darkness of the night, yet there is the necessity of the sun. Similarly, though your sins are not wiped off even after going to several holy places, still if you go to Gokarna, all your sins will be destroyed. Even if you have committed 1000 Brahmahatyas, all will be destroyed and you shall become sinless. Even Vishnu and Brahmadev lived there for penance and their desires were fulfilled. Gokarna is like Kailash and Sri Shiva stays there. At the instance of Sri Vishnu, Sri Ganesh installed this Shivlinga. All the gods, demons, rishis, Muni, Siddha live and worship Sri Shiva, and thereby they attain all the four values Purusharthas with the blessings of Sri Shiva. Brahma, Vishnu, Kartvirya, Vinayak, Durga, and others have also installed lingas here known after their name. All waters here holy. This is thus the most important holy place. In Krita Yuga, this linga was white. In Treta, it became red. In Dwapara, yellow. And in the Kali Yuga, it has become black. The root of this linga is in the Sapta Patal below. Even with the sight of this linga, one is relieved of the sins of Brahmahatya, gets one's desires fulfilled, and after death one attains salvation. The devotees staying here go to Kailas in the end. One should bathe and offer charities on Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. It is virtuous to worship here on Vyatipath, Makar Sankranti, and Mahashivratri days. Bholinath Shiva possesses judgment over all our actions in the month of Magh. If one observes fast on the Shivratri day and offers bay leaf to Sri Shivalinga, one's entrance in the heaven is ensured. Gautama Muni further said, so many have been benefited by visiting Gokarna. I myself have witnessed a most wonderful incident when I had been to that place. When I was sitting under a tree, I saw a leper sutra woman. She was without food the whole day. All her body was affected, and pus and germs were seen all over. She had lost her teeth and had no clothes on her body. Being a widow, her head was shaved, and she was much troubled due to midday hot sun. She sat under a tree being tired and soon died. Shiv, Shivdutas came there with a divine place to take her to the Kailas. While living with the Sutras, she ate flesh and took wine daily. One day she killed a calf, thinking it be a lamb, and reserved its head for the next day. When it was time for milking the cow, she looked for the calf, and she came to know that by mistake she had killed it. In grief, she uttered the word Shiva, Shiva, and what a great sin I have committed unknowingly. Fearing the wrath of her husband, she buried the head, flesh, and bones of the calf and told people that a tiger took her calf away. When she died, Yamdutas took her to the Yampuri and placed her in hell. She suffered tortures and was again born as a Shudra woman. She was ugly, black, and blind. Her parents cared for her for some time, and afterwards she begged for her food. She was an orphan without any shelter. She developed leprosy, and in course of time she grew old. Many people were going to Gokarna on Mahashivratri day, expecting to get good alms. She also followed them. It being a fast day, nobody offered her food. In joke, someone placed bell leaf in her hand. Knowing that it was not eatable, she threw it away, which by chance fell on the Shivlinga, and thus she had the credit of worshipping Shiva in that dark night. This pleased Sri Shiva, and hence we have come to take her to Shivlok. Shiva Dutas sprinkled nectar on her body, and soon she looked like a heavenly woman. She was then taken to Shivloka. Hearing this, the king was delighted. He went to Gokarna and was relieved of all his sins. Gokarna has great significance. Hence, Sripad Sri Vallabha had also been there and stayed there for 3 years. Chapter 7 completed. Next will be chapter number 8. Chapter 8. Sripad Sri Vallabha blesses a Brahmani and her son. Naam Dharak. How long Sri Guru Sripad Sri Vallabha stayed at Gokarna and what happened later. Sri Siddha. Sri Guru lived secretly for 3 years and from there he went to Sringeri. After 4 months he went to Nivarti Sangam and thence to Kuravapur on the bank of the Krishna river. There lived a Brahmin well versed in Veda and Shastras. We had a good natured devoted wife Ambika by name. She begot children but none survived except one son. In due course his third ceremony was celebrated, but he was dull, foolish and dumb. Hence the parents were much worried. The Brahmin got tired while training him and at times beat him for not learning his lessons. His wife could not bear this cruel treatment to her only son. The Brahmin died after some time. The woman lived with her son, begging for their livelihood. The boy grew up, but being foolish and poor, no one liked to give one's daughter in marriage to him. People said to him, "Your father was a learned man, but you are like a stone. You have brought disgrace to his family. How are you not ashamed of begging for your living? Better give up your life in the Ganga river." He was aggrieved to hear such harsh words off and on. He therefore intended to give up his life in the deep waters of a river. Seeing this, his mother said to him in grief, "I shall also accompany you. I shall also accompany you." They both went on the river Krishna. Sripad Sri Vallabha also had been there. Seeing him, the mother bowed to him and said, "We both have decided to give up our lives in this river, but as committed society is a but as committing society is a sin, how shall we will be relieved of our miseries without being offended?" Sri Guru asked, "Which miseries induce you to give up your lives?" Narrating her whole account, the woman said, "Swami, we visited holy places and observed vartas for getting a son, and after this we got this son, but he is a dullard. All despise him and scold him. I therefore request you to bless me with a son who will be pious like your good self. At least in the next birth he should prove a good for all our further generations." Seeing her devotion, Sri Guru said, "You worship Ishwar, that is Sri Shiva, with devotion, and you will have God-like son." Nanda Gawali worshipped God, and hence Sri Krishna lived at his home. Your desire will also be fulfilled if you worship him devotedly. The woman asked, "How did the cowherd worship Sri Hari? What vartas did they observe?" Sri Guru, on every sunny Pardos, worship God Shiva. A tale in this respect is narrated in the Skandha Purana. There lived a righteous king, Chandrasen, in Ujjain. Manibhadra was his chief counselor. He worshipped Sri Shiva most devotedly, and Sri Shiva and favored him with the most bright Chintamani bead which he had given to his master Chandrasen. A mere touch of the bead turned iron into gold. By mere sight of the bead, one's desires were fulfilled. So all other kings desired to have such bead. Many kings tried to get the bead from the king and offered him money for the same, but all efforts were in vain. So they all combined their forces and attacked Ujjain when Chandrasen was engaged in worshipping Sri Shiva on a sunny Pardosa day. The children of the cowherds watched the worship of the king, and they also wished to worship Sri Shiva similarly. The boys gathered stones and prepared a Shiva temple and placed one stone as image of Shiva Linga and began worshipping it with flowers and other herbs. The mothers of the boys came there and took their sons for meals to their homes. But one boy did not go home. His mother thrashed him angrily and said, "It is right now. It is night now. Come to have your meal." She broke the temple and threw away the image of Shivalinga. Seeing this, the boy began to weep in grief and intended to give up his life. But after some time, he fell asleep. Sri Shiva was pleased with his devotion and created a beautiful temple. A linga of precious stones was installed in it. Sri Shiva awoke the boy, looked at him with affection, and asked him to have a boon from him. The boy was much delighted. He bowed to Sri Shiva and said, "My mother has broken the evening worship. Kindly forgive her." Sri Shiva said, "As your mother has seen the evening worship, she will get a son named Sri Krishna in next birth, and you will also have all the pleasures." The forces of the enemies were emerged. They spoke amongst themselves, "What wonder is this? How this bright, beautiful temple has been created here within night. Let us give up enmity and see the king, who is so virtuous, on friendly terms." They sent their messengers to the king. The king requested them to come to the Shiva temple where he would see them. Chandrasen was also wonderstruck to see sun-like bright Shiva temple sprang up during the night. The cowherd boy's house also looked very bright. The king asked the boy the reason of this miracle. The boy narrated the whole story to all the kings who had gathered there. All were much pleased to hear him. They said, "You really became the king of the cowherds." They offered the boy many gifts and land, and accepting Chandrasena, all the kings returned to their places. The boy went home and narrated to his mother all that had occurred. He said, "Sri Shiva was pleased with my evening worship, as I requested him to forgive you even though you had broken the temple. He was not angry with you. Besides, he assured that the incarnation of Sri Krishna will stay at your home." Sripad Sri Vallabha narrated the significance of the Shani Pradosh worship to the Brahmani, and seeing her devotion, placed his palm over the head of her son and blessed him. Eventually, the boy instantly had the knowledge of the Vedas, Shastras, Tark, Bhasha, etc. All the Brahmins and his mother were wonderstruck to see this. The mother respectfully bowed to Sri Guru and said that she was fortunate to see Sri Guru and to get his blessing. She said, "You are God yourself. We shall worship you in the evening. I hope I shall have a son like your good self in my next birth. Let not your words be untrue." Seeing this, she began to worship Sri Guru every evening with devotion. Her son got married and had sons and grandsons. Those who are blessed by Sri Guru receive all leisure in the same way. Chapter number 8 completed. Next will be chapter number 9. Chapter 9. A washerman blessed to be a king. There lived a washerman at Kurvapur. He was Kuravpur. He was a great devotee of Sri Guru. Sripad Sri Vallabha used to go to the river, have bath morning, sandhya and other rituals Just like ordinary Brahmins, the washerman would go to the river, wash Sri Guru's clothes and would bow to him with reverence. Once Sri Guru asked him, "Why do you take so much trouble for me? I am pleased with your services. Go home and live happily." Hearing this, the washerman gave up household attachment, lived at Sri Guru's dwelling place, swept the courtyard, and sprinkled water on it every day. Thus he served Sri Guru with more devotion. Once in spring, in the month of Vaisakh, a Muslim king came to the river along with his harem of beautiful women wearing precious ornaments and clothes with many servants, elephants, horses, musical instruments, and was enjoying joyful. The washerman was looking at the splendor and glory of the king. He began thinking, "How fortunate shall I be if I could also enjoy such glorious life?" Knowing his intention, Sri Guru asked him what he was thinking about. The washerman replied, "I was just thinking what deity this king might have pleased so as to have such splendor and glory. However, I do not long for it. I have all my pleasures at thy feet." Sri Guru said, "You are struggling hard in life. Do you aspire to enjoy royal glory? If enjoying their objects does not satisfy the senses, they obstruct the path of moksha, freedom from worries of life and death. So you better take birth in a Muslim royal family and enjoy kingly life." Wasserman, kindly do not ask me to go away from you. Sri Guru, you will have birth in the royal family of Bidar, and I shall meet you in your later life. I shall also have another birth and shall be known as Narsimha Saraswati. I shall be leading a sannyasi's life. Saying this, Sri Guru allowed him to go, but again asked whether he would like to enjoy royal life in that very birth or in the next birth. Wasserman expressed, "I am now grown old. It would be good if I enjoy royal pleasures from the childhood." Soon after the washerman died, he was later born in the royal family of Bidar. His account is narrated later in the 50th chapter of this book. Sri Guru was thus much praised and respected during his stay at Kurwapur. I am unable to describe all the miracles of his life. Kurwapur has become a famous holy place due to his residence. Sripad Sri Vallabha disappeared in the river Krishna on Aswin Vadya 12, which is known as Guru Dwadasi. Real devotees can still see here Sripad Sri Vallabha, the Dattatreya incarnate. Many have experienced this. Chapter number 9 is completed. So all the 9 chapters are completed, which are to be read on every Thursday for the weekly prayana of Holy Book of Sri Guru Charitra.